and welcome to Prime Business with me, Emma Davis. Let's settle for the details. The Minister of Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, has disclosed that government will reintroduce the restrictions bill to Parliament in due time. According to him, the legislative instrument, which faced opposition from traders and importers and was subsequently withdrawn, has not been abandoned. He assured that the bill will return to Parliament to ensure the protection of local manufacturers against cheap imported goods. Mr. Hammond spoke at the 30th anniversary of Rose Aluminium Company and the 65th birthday of the founder of the company.
Ghana's aluminium industry has gone through several phases. The industry is a capital-intensive one that requires a lot of financing. Currently, the industry is heavily populated with foreign companies. Speaking to Joy Business at the 30th anniversary of the company and the 65th birthday of the founder, Vivian Sewa Edu, Executive Director of Rose Aluminium, Berima Osebonsu, said the aluminium industry could be a game changer for Ghana's economy.
Our contribution to the economy cannot be low. I mean, when it comes to like employment, we have about 50 workers who people depend on. You know, we're engaging like export activities, you know, to our neighboring countries like Niger, like Togo, like Burkina, like Ivory Coast. You know, so our contributions to the economy, like in our own small, we cannot be overlooked. I mean, even for the fact that an indigenous Ghanaian business is able to thrive for this long is something that the country should be proud of.
Rose Aluminium Company Limited is one of the oldest and leading aluminium companies in the West African sub-region, manufacturing premium aluminium hollowware from aluminium circles or discs. The founder, Vivian Sewa Edu, narrates part of the formative years of the company.
Amidst much opposition and resistance, Parkview was registered in May 1993, and exactly 3 years ago today, Thursday, 8 February 1994, our machines began to work at the first time on the premises that was at North Industrial Area in a quiet underground basement. The sound of those machines was music in my ears.
On his part, Minister for Trade and Industry, Katie Hammond, assured captains of industry that import restrictions legislative instrument, which was withdrawn from Parliament, will be reintroduced.
In the end, I was actually going to I would have laid it. A few things transpired, a few things came up, and so it's actually been held in abeyance, but I've not aborted it. Doc, I assure you, I think it's very important that we get some of this LI going through so that we ensure that it's cut to the bone, to the marrow. Why do we allow foreigners to saturate our market with almost anything conceivable?
Meanwhile, managing partner at Yamson and Associates, Michael Harry Yamson, is worried that a total ban on importation of goods will affect Ghana's relationship with international trade partners and may lead to an increase in inflation. According to him, the economy does not have enough infrastructure to meet capacity. He spoke earlier on Business Live.
I'm worried because the statements that the minister makes, first of all, betray a scant regard for trade diplomacy. I think that as this particular discussion about the lane of an LR has gone on, what has been clear is that we don't appear to have really engaged with our trade partners, with WTO, with countries like China, from who we import 42% of all our imports. They would want to have a say, because this is going to impact them. Remember that they are also financiers of our budget. They are also major creditors to us. And so we cannot take these actions purely on whims and caprices. There has to be a deeper conversation about what will work and how it will work in the best interest of Ghana. Let me give you just a few examples. In the rice sector, if we ban importation, we need to expand our production by 70% based on current consumption levels. For sugar, we need a 900% increase in production. For poultry, we need over 200% increase. For juices, we need over 100% increase. And in the famous Yemuadia, we need about a 300% plus increase. Now, any shortage in any of these items does not bode well for inflation. And we have just gone through a very painful period of high inflation in this country. So I dare say that given the levels of expansion in supply that we would have to satisfy in the very short term, I'm not very convinced that we have the capacity to implement this policy as currently envisaged. Now, your trade partners will react either through trade policy or diplomatic actions. And those will have dire consequences also for our trade balances. And that will also affect our currency stability. So I think that in terms of, to your question, the risks are quite simply too high unless we have gone through the process, as I've said, of a deeper local dialogue and international dialogue, and then made sure that our markets are capable of responding.
Director of the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Peter Korte, is asking government to outline and share how it intends to use the emission levy. Although government needs to shore up its revenue, Professor Korte believes the public needs a detailed account of what the taxes will be used for.
Already, the cost of doing business is high, and many firms are struggling to adjust to some of the new taxes and the new additional costs that are being imposed. So any new tax certainly has to be justified, because otherwise it becomes difficult to assimilate such cost in your, or incorporate such cost in your operations. And I think one other point that government hasn't been very clear is what is going to use this money for. Oftentimes you use emission taxes or pollution tax, etc., to change behavior, to affect lives. You know, you want a clean environment, you want to tax people so you can make things better. Now, where are we channeling this money into? Are we going to use it to perhaps even provide charging points for electric vehicles? Are we going to use it to clean the environment? Are we going to use it to halt galamsey? I mean, some of these things have to be made clear. Are we going to use it to even improve the working conditions of AGI and all the business community? So I believe there's a lot more that ought to be done in this. Yes, we all agree government needs to raise revenue because we need to show up our revenue GDP ratio. But let's not continue to overburden the already burdened taxpayer. There are other options by which you can raise revenue. Make the existing tax handles more efficient. You also have non-tax revenue. There are state-owned enterprises that are supposed to provide declared dividends for government. Some are not efficient, and they are rather making losses and drawing on the kitty. So these are all things that one has to look into. And of course, government also cutting down its expenditure, looking at some areas where it needs to have value for money. Some of these things you need to engage. Apart from engaging, undertake some background research. Assess the acceptance of the such tax measures. You can sample some Ghanaians and find out how this will work. Sample the key stakeholders, find out how this will work, and then engage some of the key stakeholders as well. AGI and all that. Then you have a sense of how this is going to work and its acceptability. But if you don't, and you just throw in such new taxes, it will receive resistance. We saw e-levy, we saw VAT, we've seen other forms of taxes that have received a lot of resistance. Even the debt exchange program, we saw what we went through, very painful exercise with a lot of agitations, unrest, picketing. I think we need to move away from this quick fix approach.
Government would borrow about 180 billion cedis via treasury bills this year. That's according to Data Bank research. This will be 21% more than what it raised in 2023. Here's a report.
Government is expected to raise more than 50% of the 61.9 billion cedis budget deficit through treasury bills. This is along with estimated maturities of about 150 billion cedis, a growth of 28% over that of last year. Indeed, treasury bills are said to remain the dominant driver of activity on the Ghana fixed income market. Analysts believe domestic investors could remain skewed towards shorter-dated Government of Ghana securities to manage risk exposure, blurring the hope for any bond issuance. Yields are expected to decline on a positive inflation outlook, but upside pressures will persist from the government's high demand for money market funding. Data Bank research believes the momentum of yield decline will continue to face headwinds as the T-bills forecast of 180 billion cedis is substantial to keep upside pressures elevated.
Meanwhile, Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in the U.S., William Pepper, explains that the money market is the next available option for borrowing. According to him, government has run out of options to generate revenue. Rather, he urged government to fix the exchange rate.
I mean, so if you understand how government raised the revenue, they were the options that I've mentioned. We have assets, some of the assets commodities that we have, or maybe a business that the government can sell. At the moment, the only one on the table is Airtel to go, but we know the performance of Airtel to go, there's no value in it, so government will not be able to raise revenue. The other option is probably if the assets in terms of commodities that we have, oil, gold, diamond, are natural resources. That is one other area. So because of these challenges, that is why government is opting for the treasury market. Let me so in finance, so the major problem of our country is the exchange rate situation. So if you're able to address the exchange rate situation, things will go on very well. One trick in being able to do this, there's something we call carry trade. Carry trade is that when someone sees that there is a disparity between two countries' interest rates. So we know that to be able to solve your exchange rate, that is when a country's currency is devaluing, the norm is that your interest rate will go high. And this will attract foreign investors to come into your country to invest. And then when they change their money back into their currency, they make some profit. So seeing that the treasury bill rate is hovering around that 28-29%, it's enticed foreign investors to come and buy government treasury bill. And so that is another way of attracting foreign investors because we have been shut off of the Eurobond market. So you may see that our treasury bill market is increasing. We may have to really look at the mix. How much of it is made up of money raised domestically and how much of it is coming because of external investors? These are the other figures probably the central bank may have to give to us.
A Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Adam, has stated that the current macroeconomic indicators confirm government's commitment towards restoring the economy to recovery path despite its associated challenges. According to him, the decline in inflation, relative stability of the cedi, and an overall growth rate of 2.8% are signs of economic recovery. He was speaking at a thought leadership conference organized by GCB Bank. Here's a report.
According to the World Bank, SMEs represent about 90% of businesses and more than 50% of employment worldwide. In Ghana, SMEs are crucial drivers of the economy, employing over 80% of the workforce and contributing more than 70% of the private sector output, surpassing global averages. Speaking to the media after the signing ceremony, the managing director of Zenith Bank, Henry Oruzorigbo, said it is important to to support SMEs with low interest funds, particularly to women.
We entered into a partnership with the Development Bank of Ghana. The Development Bank of Ghana gives cheap finance, which we are going to extend to all these SMEs at a relatively cheaper cost. And internally as a bank, we have decided to categorize the SMEs and we place them on an account series whereby even transaction costs, COT, they pay the least you can talk about. So we are aware of this. There is no way saying you want to help somebody when you are charging the person so much. So we have looked into all this holistically, and we are sure with what we have put in place that all the MSMEs will not have any other opportunity, any other chance, but just to come and enroll in what we are doing in Zenith Bank.
On his part, the Director General of the Africa Guarantee Fund, West Africa, Benjamin Peglo, said the aim of the initiative is to lift the vulnerable out of poverty.
Bank dedication to SMEs. There's a unit dedicated to SMEs. We don't see it everywhere. We don't see it with other banks. Second, the reach. They have 42 branches across the countries. So for us, this is extremely important because the first goal for AGF is the impact, social impact. And we want to measure it outside of just the urban areas. And we can see the way Zenith Bank is dealing with it. They are reaching outside of Accra. They are measuring their impact and they want to do more. They're extremely aggressive about it. And they're committed to even lend money at better conditions to the SMEs because we're having a discussion with the DBG.
Speaking on behalf of the Bank of Ghana, Deputy Director in charge of Banking Supervision Department, Ismail Adam, said the central bank will continue to persuade banks to lend to the SME sector in order to grow the economy.
So Bank of Ghana, we have challenged the banks to establish dedicated desks to design specific products that will meet the needs of SMEs. And our hope is that will address the challenges that SMEs are facing in the country.
Zenith Bank Ghana and the Africa Guarantee Fund have signed a memorandum of understanding to support small and medium enterprises to expand. The initiative will enable first 100 SMEs to benefit from funding from the bank at low interest rates. The following report has more.
The GCB Platinum Thought Leadership Conference brought together bankers and experts from the fields of finance and economics to share perspectives and deliberate on topics relevant to the development of the financial services sector and the national economy. Speaking at the ceremony, Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, said government would continue to offer a more equitable and conducive environment for business operations and growth.
Ladies and gentlemen, today the sacrifices and the commitment of government and Ghanaians have started yielding the expected economic returns. The economic indicators today demonstrate that indeed Ghana has turned the corner. Decline in inflation to 23.2% in December 2023 from a high of 54.2% in December 2022. Relative strong performance of the Ghana cedi, which reported a marginal depreciation of 7.2% between February and December 2023. In fact, in Ghana, 7.2% depreciation is a marginal depreciation. And if you compare this with the same period in 2022, you are talking about almost 30% depreciation.
Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Ernest Addison, said, from customized financial solutions to stellar customer service, GCB had consistently exceeded expectations in meeting the diverse needs of its clients.
From customized financial solutions to stellar customer service, GCB has consistently exceeded expectations in meeting the diverse needs of its clients, be it assisting individuals to achieving their financial goals or aiding corporates in realizing their visions. The bank has demonstrated a steadfast dedication to its customers.
On his part, Managing Director of GCB Bank PLC, Kofi Adumako, stated that the bank's focus on digital transformation, customer experience and ESG would spearhead its growth as a bank.
And the level of the depth of discussion, particularly around the digitization agenda, particularly around lack of finance to agriculture, particularly around the role of banks and the intervention, the level of financial inclusion. But very key is the digital agenda. It reflects how banking has been disrupted, significantly disrupted, the way we have to work with fintechs today, and what banks are going to look like into the future. The banks who will survive will be the banks who have made the right investments in technology and have listened to customers and come up with solutions.
The conference was on the theme 70 years of providing unrivaled financial solutions towards the socio-economic development of Ghana.
The French ambassador to Ghana has indicated that his country is ready to help revamp the local tourism industry through partnerships. He believes investment and cultural skills support from the French will help in developing deserted historical sites to drive employment and improve the local tourism economy. Here's a report by Clinton Yeboah.
Ghana's tourism sector is emerging steadily and still remains a significant contributor to Ghana's GDP. The industry is currently the third largest foreign exchange earner for Ghana. However, some historical sites remain unknown, underdeveloped and under-resourced. A partnership from the French and the Ghana Museum and Monuments Board could be a new pathway for development and investment into Ashanti traditional buildings to boost tourism in the Ashanti region. The French ambassador to Ghana, Jose Amand Anyambosu, believes a partnership would allow for the protection of cultural heritage of the African monuments and boost the local economy.
We are very keen if our help are requested to continue working with the Ghanaian. Everything linked to the renovation of this kind of place will create activities and jobs, will open the place to the tourist. So for the economy, the local economy is good. For the protection of the heritage is also good. And to transmit the culture of this Ashanti region is also very important and very good. Because we are very, very good partners, France and Ghana, we can also provide the money. What we are doing since many years, we can put a lot of money on the table, France and Ghana together. But before that, we need good idea, good project, people very, very committed, very well skilled, and that are also talking about the Ghanaian that love their country.
Ambassador Jose Amand made these comments in an engagement and visit to some Ashanti traditional buildings led by Francis Kwayiri, the Ashanti regional head of Ghana Museums and Monuments Board. The ambassador inspected some projects at Ejoso Besiansi and Ejunasi in the Ejoso Municipal Assembly. An expert at the Heritage Management Ghana Museums and Monuments Board, Gerard Chion, is calling for the intensive protection of monumental sites.
And there is also a need to protect these because it's become a resource for Ashanti in terms of the symbolics, the design, the iconography, the style. People come here to see. See today, we had the visit of the ambassador of France, right? He did not come to see anything else in Besiase than this particular building. Patrimony, right? It's heritage. It's something that every humans would like to see. It's something that belongs to this land that is unique, right? That people want to come and see. So there is potential also in terms of the economy, in terms of business with this type of building.
Reporting for Joy News, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Well, we hope we helped you to make your budget ahead of the Valentine's Day. My name is Emma Davis, and that's how we end Prime Business tonight. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com.